It's time.
All right, here we go.
The Cocktail Show.
Get ready to have a good time.
Let's have a good time.
This is exciting, isn't it?
Oh, I like that.
Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
Wow.
I've allotted 1 hour for recreational activity. There's no time for irrelevant conversation. Fun will now commence.
Cocktail Show.
Garry.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Garry. But wait, there's more.
I'm the guy.
Finger gun. Garry Meier.
3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Garry Meier Show, Cocktail Hour, live!
Cocktails. Woo, drinks.
We're streaming live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central.
On Friday, November 8th, 2024. Exclusively on the GarrForceLIVE YouTube channel. And of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. Now, if you're around Central Florida next weekend and looking for actual cocktails, wines, beer, and a whole bunch of food, the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Food and Wine Classic is back and celebrating its 15th anniversary on Friday and Saturday, November 15th and 16th. For one admission price each night, you can sample more than 170 beverages and more than 40 food dishes during the event. I attended a media preview earlier this week. And as it's Veterans Day weekend, the resort is partnered with the Wounded Warrior Project as its charity beneficiary. If you're only in the mood for sweets, head over to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort, where the pastry team is celebrating the 25th anniversary installation of a life-size gingerbread house, with lots of holiday treats available for sale right from inside that edible creation itself. Despite Gary's dismay, the beginning of November marks the installation of holiday decor all around, especially by my neighbors at Walt Disney World Resort here in Florida. Magic Kingdom is all decked out for the season already, with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party after-hours events on select nights getting started tonight, November 8th. Over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the park is just about all decked out for the holidays already too. For the second consecutive year, it will also host special after-hours events on select nights starting tomorrow, November 9th, called Disney Jollywood Nights, celebrating the glitz and glamour of the Hollywood that never was and always will be. Yes, with the evenings here in Central Florida finally dipping below 80 degrees, I got out and about a bit more this week than I have in quite a while. And since the GarrForce's George Bliss wanted to see it, here's video from when I stepped into my backyard to watch a Falcon 9 rocket launch this week. Anyway, as for the show, the only way to stream along is
The GarrForceLIVE YouTube channel.
YouTube. Subscribe to the GarrForceLIVE YouTube channel.
All of the past editions of the Cocktail Hour can be replayed on the GarrForceLIVE YouTube channel.
Please like and share the show on all the social media channels.
Comments during the live show, wherever we are streaming, can be seen in our virtual studio.
And we may show them on the screen
and or talk about them.
That's good. Yeah. Disappeared.
Thank you for your attention.
Now, fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Live.
Here we go. On America's podcast. Boom. Shakalaka.
Finger guns. Hey, biatches, let's start the healing. Let's go. Come on. Oh, my God. Hey, let me just tell you this. Tonight, go outside, look up in the sky. The universe doesn't give a damn about us. We're just here floating around. Enjoy the moment. Let's go. And that's what we do every Friday on the Cocktail Show. We're not going to worry about anything because reality does not exist. Here's what we do. I kick the tires. I light the fires. And there's one more sequence that has to happen before we go wheels up. And that would be Leslie removing her beautiful condom and her cat off her lap.
The cat's right here. She's off the lap.
Okay.
Hi,
now, if you take that cat off your lap, we can get started.
Look up, honey. Hi, I'm here today.
What's that cat's name?
That's Tula.
That's Tula.
And this is a bottle of Bonterra Chardonnay with a brand new condom we did have kind of unfortunate launch.
Chiseled last time. It's not going to fish chisel tonight. Come on. Come on. Shoot it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Almost hit the cat.
Yes.
Cheers, my dears.
That's a good sign. And we are off and running with the cocktail show. Got my Manhattan.
That's about a 5-ounce pour.
What do you? Oh, wow, that's a nice pour there. And I know I didn't preview this with you, but I know yesterday was your anniversary with your deeply departed and lovely husband, and happy anniversary. And I know it was a rough day for you, but he is in my thoughts and your thoughts. And boy, it's hard to believe how time goes. And
no.
It does. And no matter if you get into the mud or whatever, it's still going to go. And then you're going to look back and go, I was in the mud. What did I waste all that time for in the mud? Let's not stay in the mud.
While we are rather insignificant, there are things going on in this universe that are just kind of wild. Well, everything's kind of wild. I was telling Garry before the show, I got into the car last night, turned on the radio, and I had on a Chicago political talk station. And out of nowhere, the talk show host decides to play "You Are So Beautiful" by Joe Cocker, which was our wedding song, on a political talk show that never plays music otherwise, except I Spangled Banner. But see, there's cosmic stuff at play.
Tim was communicating that way. I believe in that stuff. I don't believe in UFOs and a lot of other stuff, but I do believe in that. There are things we can't explain. There's one of them. And in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Terry Savage, as was previewed a few seconds ago there with Alan. Alan, I don't know why Disney World does not hire you as their PR person. My God, Alan does all that on his own. And it's better than, I'm guessing, that their paid PR person does.
Maybe if he started dressing as one of the characters.
Oh, he's retired. He doesn't care about that stuff. I'm sorry, but here's the bit.
Well, and they have to wear business casual when it's 90 degrees, and I think that's just,
you don't want to do that.
No.
Labor of love. That's the best way to do it. You're right. And so we're gonna find out, as Terry does every time she visits, how we fared this year, where she thinks we're going next year. But in all the time she's visited, I always walk away feeling pretty good, no matter what's going on that we hear day in and day out from all the news and all the other noise. I can cut through that. I hope you can too. And we're here, we're gathering, and we're still alive. So that's good. We're in a good country. Yeah. I mean, let's look at all the positives on this side of the ledger.
A little chilly here, and I have central heating. I have food in my fridge. I have food in cupboards. There are all sorts of things that you can take stock of that help put things in perspective.
And I know, Alan, you said that I can't take the holiday cheer right now, but I'm into it. It's November. I'm not going to fight it anymore. Let's just enjoy these final weeks of 2024. And that's my new thing. I'm not fighting anything right now. I'm Uncle, I give up. Let's just go with the flow, and let's go with the screen door and see who's checked in. Am I right on the door?
You did. See, everything falling into place so beautifully.
Hey, and another thing, I know this is a technical workshop, but for months and maybe years since we started the cocktail show, I would every week have buffering happening on my end. I'm sure you saw it as a viewer, and I had that corrected this past week. So I think I can now claim with 100%.
Did it involve a doctor's visit?
Yes, I had something done. I had something done to my buttocks, and I think we're good. So that should be gone. I made that correction finally. That in itself, I'm taking as a victory. Not too. Listen, I know it's irritating to watch, and you're freezing and this and that. And if that happens tonight, then I don't know what to do, because I got some new equipment and it seems to be working so far. Okay, that Joe Cocker song that was your wedding song a week or two ago, I played a Joe Cocker song on our show, and I said, "Hey, Leslie, I'm going to play a Joe Cocker song," and you said, "Oh, that was the song we played at." Or a Joe Cocker song was the song we played at our wedding. And I said, "Oh, I wonder if it's this one." And it was The Letter. And I thought, this couldn't have been the one.
No,
Yeah,
that was
no,
not
that
the
wasn't
one
the
that we
one.
played.
That wasn't the one. So
And now I hear it, and it's so rugged and rough. But that's, I think, what makes it so endearing is he was such an unusual talent.
Oh, Cocker, one of a kind, and he would,
except for John Belushi. Which Belushi? John Belushi, because he did a really good Joe Cocker too.
He did a great, imitation, and every song that Joe covered, he would cover the original better than the original, and I think some of the artists of songs that he covered said that's better than the way I did it.
The first time my parents saw Joe Cocker, they thought the world was coming to an end.
Yeah.
That's the death of music. What is wrong with that guy? He better be sick, because nobody should be doing that otherwise.
Goddamn hippies.
Yep.
Okay, let's get to some comments, because I see Kathleen says, "No more goo." I'm going goo free forever now, hopefully. Oh, great. We're in this format.
Yeah, I've said anybody who comments before the show goes live, those get zapped as soon as we go live now. So you can see Martin commented here at 1:58.
What about Keely-Ann?
There was no Keely-Ann in the studio when I logged in. Is there one later?
She has since checked in here. Let's see what Keely-Ann
I see one here.
to say.
Time change, election. What a week. My schnauzer and I are double fisting tonight.
Oh, my.
Oh, a double fisting Friday. Yes. All right. Who else? Thank you, Keely. Martin, British Columbia. What's that?
I said Martin checked in again at 6. His first check-in was at 1:58.
I love Martin.
Thanks, Martin.
British Columbia is beautiful. If you've ever been there, you know. If you haven't, go. It's like a postcard. Donna, hey, how you doing? All right. And Marianne from Dubuque, Iowa. Hello. Sun setting. The sun's setting everywhere. I mean, depending on, unless you're in the mountain or Pacific time zones, you're dark. I'm looking behind Leslie's shoulder there, and there's no light.
No, there was a glimmer. I actually got an email from my local government representative asking if I would like for it to be daylight saving time year round, and a resounding yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. I think they should know that by now.
Yeah,
all right. Dale, Wheatfield, Indiana. He's here every week. We love you, Dale. Stick Save, Frankfort, Illinois, my former hometown. And Thomas and Deb, Whitewater, Wisconsin. Hello. Swing State. Hello. And Gilbert, Arizona.
You don't have
Chris.
to hear that for a while.
Yeah,
now.
it's really. I missed you all like crazy this week. We missed you, Chris.
Oh.
And Ro, longtime listener and viewer. I haven't heard a peep about Thanksgiving. Seems like we're going from Halloween to Christmas. We're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Are we doing a show the Friday after Thanksgiving? You want to do that?
Why not?
I'm up for it.
You know, I'm not big on the Black Friday shopping, so I think I'll be available that day.
So
Black Friday matters.
Triple time pay.
Triple time pay.
Oh, there you go.
Alan getting a shot in. I love that. Doggy, how you doing? Can't wait to see Terry. She's so pretty. Yes, she is. Good evening, y'all. Woof, woof.
Woof, woof. Speaking of Doggy Boy, he has become one of our benefactors. I have a special T-shirt that he had made.
What does that say?
I should flip
The
that.
tag's still on it.
Schnauzer Search and Rescue Team, size
That's
medium.
nice.
Isn't that sweet?
That's going into the prize tonight, the prize package?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, speaking of oh, yes. No T-shirt from them this week, but we do have a really cool wristband. So if you're, playing your drums, you can look really awesome.
Yeah, you could wipe your brow with that if you're sweating.
There you go. Isn't that special?
Nice. And they are playing tomorrow, a Veterans Day benefit tomorrow in Arlington Heights, Illinois. It's the VFW hall there, right? Is that
Pretty
where
sure.
they're What's that?
There you are.
Yeah.
There you are, right there. American Legion.
American Legion. And if you're in that area, please go. You're going to hear some great music, and it's an incredible cause. Oh, yes, they're so good.
And generous, too.
And very generous. All right, who else is up on this? And there's Brian from Oh Yes right there. He's at Dirty Nellie's. Bon Journey tonight. Dirty Nellie's, that's where, Leslie? Is that in Palatine, Illinois?
It's up in the northwest suburbs. Just Google it. You'll find
I remember that from my DJ days. I think I did some appearances there. Scott's Vintage.
No doubt. And the Nickel Bag. Were you at the Nickel Bag?
I was at the Nickel Bag and the Thirsty Whale and Haymakers. That was the circuit. I had my fry boots, my bell bottoms, and I would do emceeing between the band sets, give out albums. God, those were good days. Made $50 a throw. And I thought it was in heaven. This was a. I know
you could buy a car for that money.
Well, this is what $50 mattered. Actually, by doing those appearances before I went and did my all-night show, I bought my living room furniture with that. God, I love those days. The late 70s, early 80s. Was it any better?
Nice.
I mean, come on. Okay.
I mean, that's back when you looked like Serpico with those.
Right. I had the beard, the long hair,
and the fried boots, and the whole thing. Yeah.
Mac loves you, Leslie.
Oh, and me love you, Mac. Me love you.
My good friend Wayne Altman, he loves you too. Wayne is a great guy. Wayne and I have become really close friends over the years.
Show.
Cindy, another close friend. Her birthday is on Sunday, I believe. And she's got a 36-year-old daughter. She stopped by, though, to say hello.
So wait,
even though
36 and 12. She's turning 48 this year, right,
Yeah.
Cindy? There you go.
Yes, she is. Bananarama, or is that's Banana Man? Bananarama's a group. I started my cocktail hour Wednesday morning. Okay, listen. I know it's crazy time, but let's all get along. Scott, St. Charles, Illinois, Martini crew checking in. Cheers. Yeah. And Michael TX on board.
Texas. The great state of Texas.
Yeah. Swing state. Swing state.
Swing state.
All right, let's get Terry on because we love seeing her and she shares so much information and this is a great person. I'm so glad to know her all these years. I wish I would have known you 30, 40 years ago and just handed you my paycheck and said, do what you want with it. And I could have been retired.
You know, my motto is just buy the whole stock market. You don't have to beat the market. All you have to do is be the market. Well, how about a little hallelujah today? No matter what you think of the election outcome, the stock market absolutely loved it. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average traded over 44,000 today, an all-time high. The S&P 500, which most people don't know what that absolutely is, but it had a big landmark, traded over 6,000 today. The NASDAQ intraday traded all-time highs. They backed off a little bit at the close. The Russell, the whole broad stock market went, yay, yay.
Is this typical, Terry, post-presidential elections? You've looked at the market for many decades. Is there a pattern?
Well, I remember the first Trump election. I was out to dinner that night, in 2016. I was at a restaurant, and I looked down at my phone, and the stock futures just took off. And I went, oh, my God, something's happening. I mean, Hillary Clinton was expected to win then. And the Tuesday night, I was watching. We went to an early dinner, went back to someone's house and watching with friends. And at 7:30, I looked down and the dollar was soaring and the stock futures were up sharply. And I went and on TV, they were all busy going, well, in the Collar County here, picked up a few votes here down compared to Biden there. And they were making all the maps and the reds and the blues. And I just looked at everybody and I said, I don't want to end this party early. I love the desserts here, but it's all over. Trump won. And everybody looked at me and said, what are you talking about? The CNN hasn't called, the MSNBC, Fox. I said, no, look at the markets. The dollar was just off the charts. Strength in the U.S. dollar. So,
but how would they know before all is
the
in?
markets are where money puts its mouth. You know, there's a U.S. citizens aren't allowed to trade, to bet on the outcome of the exchange. But there is this new online exchange called Polymarket, which is obviously European and Asian traders. And they had Trump just going into the election day at a 78-point favorite, 78 favorite. And forget all the hot air that comes out of the TV pundits. The markets are where money puts its mouth. Now, this is very interesting. You have to ask yourself, why today? Well, the reasons for all this is, first, a sense that there'll be lower taxes. It may even be a lower corporate tax rate. There's going to be anticipated deregulation. So a lot of mergers and deals that were, blocked by the Biden administration, those things will get done. Less regulation on all fronts. And the financial markets just lapped it up. So we are, Bitcoin, 77,000, because, the crypto people got a hold of Trump not that long ago, 6-7 months ago, invited him to a confab, educated him. And whereas before he didn't know what it was and thought it was a bunch of baloney, he came out of there going, yes, crypto, the wave of the future. So Coinbase, where a lot of crypto is traded, that stock hit a new high. You could see the market being influenced by the anticipation of what the economy will look like under Trump. And that was this first flush of euphoria.
Okay. And you, like I said, have studied this for decades. Will the honeymoon last, or is there a moment where, okay, yeah, we're all excited, and then it goes into its normal patterns and we get into reality?
That's a good question. Some of the stocks that were, Tesla is now over $1 trillion market cap again. It hit its lows back in April when Musk bought X. What a strange note watching today on CNBC. The stocks of privately owned prison companies were soaring. Also,
prison? You said prison?
Prison. I mean, I shook my head and said, let me just take another look. Did I see that right? Because this is called the Trump trade. The banking industry, the stocks were up. There was a whole swath of optimism. Now, I'll tell you an interesting thing. 87% of the time, going back almost 100 years, and this is going to be an outlier then, if the market was up for the 3 months before the election, in August, September, and October, 87% of the time, the incumbent won. So you would have expected the Democrats to win based on that. In fact, a lot of people would have expected and did expect the Democrats to win based on, let's just give credit here. The stock market was already at an all-time high. Unemployment is near its lows. Inflation, now prices haven't come down. It'd take a recession to do that, but inflation had stopped going up very much. We're down under 3%. And as I said, people have jobs, and we had economic growth close to 3%. So U.S. did better than anyone else in the world. And if you had just looked at, quote, it's the economy stupid, you would have thought the Democrats would have had an edge. In hindsight, and I'm reading the same stuff you are, it was a sense that there are a lot of people just not feeling it and watching the difficulty in buying a home because mortgage rates aren't down and property insurance is up and so forth. So you got the results you got. But it's a very unusual time that we had a pretty good economy going for us in terms of the statistics and in terms of the stock market. And yet the incumbent party was roundly and across the board turned out. So what comes next? Well, we have to wait and see. Let me give you a historical perspective and then maybe some thoughts about what might happen. Typically, the first 2 years of a president's term are not such good years for the stock market. Stock market, typically the third year, when before the election, people are in government are promising everything and spreading out money and doing everything. That's typically a good year for the stock market. And as I said, we had a very good year. We were at all-time highs before the election. So I don't know. The smartest guy I know is sitting on the biggest amount of cash ever. That's Warren Buffett, with $325 million in cash on the side, on the sideline. So I don't know that all this good news that the market's enthused about isn't already baked into the market. We'll have to see what happens. And let me just go one step further. Leave the social, I'm not calling it social, but those aspects out of it. Let's see what the president does with tariffs. Maybe that was a threat, and maybe there will be strategic tariffs that will influence our trading partners. Because we know that a tariff on everything is not paid by the country that manufactures it. It's paid by the consumers who buy the stuff. And of course, every domestic manufacturer, if the tariff on imports makes their prices higher, the domestic manufacturers raise their prices. So that could lead to inflation. And no matter what happens, even though there's promises that we're going to cut spending by trillions of dollars, we have a huge and growing budget deficit, which we have to finance. That could push interest rates up, even though the Fed cut rates again this week. So all I'm trying to say is it's been a great first week for the markets, but now reality will set in on a lot of fronts, on inflation, on financing the debt, on what really actions are taken unilaterally. It doesn't take Congress on these tariffs. So at the very least, you know what, you didn't ask me what I'm drinking tonight. But
I know we got started with the business. What are you drinking?
Water. I love drinking with you on a Friday. I swear, after I get off, I have wine ready. But this is a serious discussion here. And so
it always is, but you still have a drink.
Stock market. Let's hope it keeps going up.
Well, Terry, what sets you apart being on this show as opposed to all the shows that I hear you on, you can't drink on those shows.
That's true, I know, but
they're prim and proper. This is where you can let loose.
Yeah, I know, but you see how many moving pieces there are?
Yeah.
It's a fascinating headline. And of course, there's, first of all, I'm a woman and there's issues that I feel strongly about. The whole issue of immigration, which is, one would call it a social issue, but the point is, I'm all in favor, if they would just stop with all the illegals that came in illegally and committed crimes and all that stuff, that's fine. But we have a lot of people who don't have status in the United States who are working and actually having taxes paid and taken out and are providing labor that many Americans don't want to do, whether it's picking fruit or working in factories or changing bedpans in nursing homes, et cetera, et cetera. So, we have to be really careful about this whole advocacy thing and take a look at the economic impacts of some of these more extreme positions.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the Fed knocking 0.25% off the rate, was that expected?
Yeah, well, they kind of almost had to do that. It was pretty much baked in, and they may or may not cut again in December. There's a 78% chance in the futures markets that they'll cut another 0.25%. On the other hand, Jay Powell at his news conference was asked, he ducks everything. Well, we're data dependent. Well, on the balance of the blah, 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 blah. So someone, I think it was from Politico, said, well, look, if President Trump wants you to resign, will you do that? Because under the law, he's there for another couple of years and independent. And he resigned. He's firmly said, not we're data dependent, we'll see what happens. He said, no. So the Fed is an independent sort of counterbalance to, it can't offset overspending on the part of Congress. It can't offset the possibility that tariffs could impact the economy. But the Fed is supposed to be independent in keeping just the right amount of money flowing through the economy to keep things going without causing inflation and without slowing it down so much that we have a recession and unemployment. And that guy gets 5 gold stars for the last couple of years. He's managed to do it. So I'm glad he's there.
I, the other day, equated the presidency to being like the host of Wheel of Fortune, where the wheel goes around when you're in office, and sometimes it lands on bankrupt, 9/11, 2008, and sometimes it just keeps spinning and hits those high numbers. And it's the luck. Half the time, it's the luck of the draw. I know they have power to do this and that, but the one issue that I keep bringing up, and nobody has argued this against me, gas prices. The president cannot control gas prices. If they could, they'd keep it at $1.50 a gallon.
Well, so here's some interesting facts as opposed to all this gasoline prices. Gasoline prices have been coming down dramatically. And today, this is an astounding little thing that came out today. The Biden administration drew down the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in order to offset the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the challenges, the oil, drilling in the Middle East and so forth. At $95 a barrel, they sold that oil. They refilled it. They announced today, leaving a little more than they took down, at $75 a barrel. So they've completely refilled our Strategic Petroleum Reserve and made a $2 trillion, couldn't be trillion, must have been $1 billion profit on it. And that goes to offset the deficit.
Okay. But if you let the oil companies drill, they're probably going to sell that oil to other countries or go to the highest bidder, which is other countries.
Well, we drilled more oil and exported more oil.
Yes.
And gasoline prices are not back down to the $1 or $2 range, but they've certainly come down dramatically just based on based on Saudi Arabia and based on Iran cheating. That's a very complex global market. And based on, by the way, the other thing, we don't have to talk about China, but they've been in a real slump. And so the fact that they're not using as much energy has weighed on the energy prices globally.
All right. Well, it is, as they say, what it is. And here we are. And as Christopher Waltz said in Django, everybody calm down. I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, you going to get an ulcer over this? Is that going to help?
Your 401k plan is at all-time highs. I mean, as I said, you didn't have to beat the market; just had to be there on that S&P 500. I'm going to give you a couple of Terry's tips. I know you have a young, smart audience, but a big thing happened. This is so off the topic of the market, but it's really on my mind because a lot of people who read my column or hear me on WGN radio. You can go to terrysavage.com, by the way, to read my columns. I sell nothing. I have no clients. I endorse nothing. Oh, there. Okay. So the top column this week is about Medicare Part D, the drug program. I know you're not on Medicare, all of you, but your mother is. Maybe it's your grandmother, your father, whatever it is. A big new thing happened, and it wasn't enough to win the election for the Biden administration, but they put a cap on out-of-pocket drug costs this year for people on Medicare. They have to buy a special drug program. The out-of-pocket cap is $2,000. And that caused all these plans to rearrange themselves in ways that at least make the average person maybe pay more. So when you are visiting, they have till December 7th to review their drug plans, even though your mom's going to say, no, I'm fine. I'm happy. They covered all my drugs. It was great this year. I didn't have to do anything. Mom, we have to go online to Medicare.gov. We'll put in your drugs, get your pill bottles and line them up. They're probably in there if she's already got a Part D plan. And then click on what's the best plan for me this year. She could save a fortune because some plans, if they just take basic generic drugs, are going to be free this year. It's astounding. But many plans have changed what drugs they'll cover. So read the column. It's the top column at terrysavage.com. And that's one thing you can do over Thanksgiving dinner. Sit down with mom and dad and grandma and go over their Medicare Part D drug plan. Instructions in the top column at terrysavage.com.
Yeah, have all their pills lined up next to the gravy bowl.
Next to the gravy, but we'll do it before the tryptophan, the turkey thing sets in.
Hey, there you are with Warren Buffett. How about that guy? Man,
yeah. Well,
what's he like in real life? I mean, they say he's just a regular Joe.
Regular, brilliant, charming. We had met several years before, and then I interviewed him. This was a while back, and he remembered me. I was so shocked that he remembered me. He's 94 years old. Some say that he's raised cash because he's had huge positions in things like Apple and Bank of America. All stocks, by the way, made new highs. And that he wanted his successors not to have such humongous positions. But Warren Buffett's a very smart guy, and nobody ever sells the top. So, let's come back what, 3 or 4 months around Easter or something like that, and see what happens to the markets between now and then, and see if he got a chance to buy some more bargains.
All right. And Terry, you always end with this. What country?
Okay, look it. You know what our immigration problem is? There are people from all over the world that want to come to America for a better life. I mean, they should come legally. Yes, I agree. That's not what I'm advocating. The point is, we're still the greatest country that ever was. Our stock market is roaring to new highs. Not everything is perfect, but our interest rates are coming down a bit, and we might just get a handle on our deficits if we have some growth policies. So as Warren Buffett always said, nobody ever got rich betting against America. Just ride this out. If you're young, you can take the ups and downs. If you're older, sure, you want some chicken money on the side. Your T-bills are still paying 4.5%. There's an article on that at terrysavage.com too. Little chicken money lets you sleep at night, but keep betting on the future of this country.
Terry, have a great holiday, and we will talk in several months and see where we're at.
Thanks, Garry.
Thank you. Terry Savage, I mean, I like when she holds my hand. I feel better about life in general. How about you, Leslie?
I'm off the ledge. I'm good. So far, so good. Everybody's talking about Terry's dog.
Yeah, I love the dog walking back and forth.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Sweet puppy.
How you doing? You know, we had happen here at the Meier household about a week or two ago. I look out on the back porch and there's a kitten. And it's
I almost drove to your house to go pick this.
Yeah, and I look at this
so
kitten
cute.
and I said to my wife, "Oh, there's a kitten on the back porch," and oh, it's so cute. And then she said, "You know what? I saw a car down the road earlier today pulled over, and I'll bet you they dropped this kitten off, as they say, we're taking the kitten or the puppy out to the farm."
To the farm, yeah.
Yeah, it has that feel to it. So we've been caring for this kitten. We're going to find it a good home. But how do people do that? Why do people do that?
I have no idea. And I mean, it happens all the time. My sister lives in a rural area, and I'd say easily half their dogs were dogs that some jackass just dumped on the side of the road, or they put them in a box on a cold night and leave them somewhere. There are systems. You can go to shelters. They might ask for a small donation. If you can't afford it, they'll figure something out for you. But yeah, there are places to take these animals. Don't be dumping them. But in the meantime, you got a kitty.
We've got a kitten, and it's funny to see our dog Flynn. Yeah, our dog. Yeah, right now. But we have people that will. Here's the problem: when we try to approach the kitten, it runs. It goes somewhere all day and then comes back for dinner and sleeps here at night. And we got to get that relationship so it doesn't run, and then we can get it in a cage and then take it to people who want it.
Now, there have been stories about cats who use this thing where they actually belong to some neighbor, and then they just show up, because we had a neighbor's cat who would do that. And my mother later in life was having trouble seeing. She was suffering pretty close to blindness at this point, and she'd see a cat at the back door and open the door assuming it was one of mine. And the one day I caught her just as she was letting the neighbor's cat in, but he would just come over and it's like, "I'm starving." Okay, here's something.
They're playing you.
Oh, they totally will. But
oh well,
in the meantime, you're doing the right thing. You're going to take care of this kitty, keep it safe until you can find it a nice home, and take it to a vet and do all the things that
right. We're going to get the shots and everything. And you mentioned something pre-show about getting the chip in these cats too when you get an animal.
Yes, it solves everything. I think I've told the story on this show about. Is it okay if I tell this story again, Garry?
I've got time.
Okay. So a couple years back, my husband and I go for a ride on a sunny day in November, and we get to Lakeshore Drive, which is the major thoroughfare in Chicago along Lake Michigan, and we start seeing rescue helicopters and ambulances and fire trucks and all this stuff. rushing toward the Museum of Science and Industry. So, gee, what's going on? We decide to go check it out. We park on the west side of Lakeshore Drive. So this is across this busy thoroughfare where all this stuff is happening on the lakefront. And some guy goes, "Hey, is this your cat?" And it's like, "No, but it's this orange tabby cat." And so we just wanted to see who they were rescuing from Lake Michigan. Turns out this young lady from Iowa was here with some friends who were of questionable nature. They get into a crash at 57th and Lakeshore Drive. Somehow or another, she ends up in the lake and she drowns and she dies. Somebody at the scene of the crash takes a picture, and as she was leaving the car, she is holding an orange cat. We go through vets and rescue groups and just kind of word of mouth. And it turns out that Tim and I, have rescued her cat. And we luckily were able to get a hold of her mom. And it was only like through a series of flukes that we figured out that this was the last vestige of her daughter. And we reunited the cat with this girl's mom. But had he been chipped, it would have taken minutes, because that was the first thing we did, was take him to a vet, have him scan him to see if he had a chip. No chip. So with that, it makes life so much easier if you just chip your animals. And that's where you get to see those cool YouTube videos of people who've lost their dogs, and then 6 months later they get reunited and you have those great moments and stuff. So yeah, do that.
Well, it's kismet that you and Tim were there to get this cat and get the cat back to this girl's mother.
Totally. I mean, and the mom lived in Georgia at the time, and here we are
Swing
in
state.
Illinois.
Swing state.
Swing state.
Okay. Swing state.
Oh, drink. We shouldn't. We
Every
should have
time you hear
made that a
swing state.
drinking game. Do
I'm
people play
drinking now.
drinking games anymore? Anyway, but yeah, chip your pets. There.
All right, chip them. Chip them. Okay. Well, as it turns out, Ryan, who normally is seen at this point in the show, he's traveling, and texted me earlier and said, "Oh, the day has gone sideways, so I don't think I'll be able to participate." But we do have some photos that he would normally show on the program, and Alan is in control of those photos. Does he have the photo of your pumpkin carved out by the squirrel?
My self-carving pumpkin this year?
Does he have that?
I don't know. If he doesn't, Ellen, do you have that? If not, I can send it.
I don't recognize it.
Okay,
All right,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, Leslie, can you send it? Because this squirrel did a perfect hole in this pumpkin and cleaned it out. But we have other photos, and what would those be, Alan?
I am pulling them up now. Hang on a sec. Talk amongst yourselves.
By the way, all of you people wanting to chip your mother-in-laws and your moms and stuff, and your wives, and drop them off at shelters. No, we don't recommend that.
Really? Shouldn't do that? All right. Listeners have sent me, and viewers have sent me these. This is, I guess, a real place called Skinny Dick's Halfway Inn. And look a little closer. You see that the bears there in the corner, if this is in fact the real place.
Oh, heavens. Those bears are playing piggyback, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
They have a gift shop. That's good.
I'm sure this was just a fluke that it worked out that way.
Yeah. And
I think what is the other one? There's like a fook, like a holy fook, or well.
Barb sent me this. Fuck off, phone. It's too early for your bullshit. I'm not even home from work, and it's already dark.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. And once again, I'm going to sound so ancient, but can we maybe address headlights? in this nation because driving at night these days is so treacherous because of those crazy ass super bright headlights. And I thought it was just me because of my age, but it turns out I was talking to a couple of 20 somethings and they're like, those things are blinding. So we really should figure out some way.
And what way would that be? Those aren't the high beams. They're the regular lights, right? Yes.
So something about the focus or maybe some sort of filter. I don't know, but oh, God.
After I had eye surgery, I bought these glasses. They've got a tint on them that I wear at night. And that deadens some of the brightness when you're coming around a corner. Ah.
Well, that's nice. No, Karen, I did not say headlights. I said headlights.
Yes. Yeah. Got to do something. And the headlights, too. We should do something about. Okay, here it is.
Explain. Oh, there you go. That's my self-carving pumpkin. I bought this beautiful pumpkin at Aldi, put it out there along with a couple of really cute gourds or, you know, like those edible squashes, the cute ones that look like tiny pumpkins. First day, one of the tiny pumpkins disappears. Second day, the second one goes. Third, and then finally I woke up to this. Is that not a gorgeous job on the part of this squirrel?
That is a beautiful hole and all cleaned out. All the insides were gone, right?
Oh, clean as a whistle to the point where I had to bring out a snow shovel and get this thing onto the compost pile because it was just collapsing. And that was probably a week before Halloween.
Hey, animals got to eat too, right?
And at that point, well, and that's where some people are like, if you don't want squirrels to mess with your pumpkins, cover it in WD-40 or shellac it or whatever. And here I'm thinking, well, what do I want to keep this pumpkin around forever? I thought it was cute and the squirrels appreciate it.
Greg would like this
glory
comment.
hole.
How do hillbillies celebrate Halloween? They pumpkin. Have you heard that one?
No, now I have.
Scott says that's a glory hole pumpkin. And Wayne is pumpkin. Pumpkin is my Indian name.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Which reminds me, speaking of Indians and things, Yellowstone.
Native Americans, Gary.
Native Americans. And I thought it was the final season. They're not promoting it as this, but the first episode of whatever season this is Sunday. I'm so excited. And I don't know if Kevin Costner is in the final season. I mean, they show promos with him in it, but then I heard he didn't do anything in the final episodes. I don't know. I don't need this kind of nonsense.
And with that, hashtag nonsense. Let's do that. And
there
I can start hashtag nonsense. I'm going to preview. Well, I showed you already the t-shirt that Doggy Boy sent.
Right. That's going in the prize package.
Our friends from Buddy Bear Car Wash have provided us with wipes and static cloths. Oh, these things are so handy. You should have a whole pack of these around the house anyway. Tracy from Wisconsin, of course, gives us bendables and ball lickers.
And of course, because she does it, is of course.
Of course.
Of course she does it. And a slinky. She gave you a slinky.
So you get a slinky. Let's see. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Guitar pick, bracelet, and the wristband. Scott from Scott's Vintage Antiques and Collectibles in North Aurora gives us our fortune teller fish. And in this case, a Beatles collector card. And it looks authentic. That's very old. What else? Oh, I've got some faux ice cubes for you. The kind that turn your drinks into a disco inferno. Ellen Delinka provides us with
the
refrigerator magnets and your very own wine condom, a fresh one, just like I used today, so you can have great poppage. So there you go. All right,
as that guy on Storage Wars says, yup.
Gary just discovered Storage Wars, and what are those shows, like 8 years old?
I know. I'm late to the party. I'm a late bloomer. Hashtag nonsense. Put that in the comment section if you want to participate in the prize giveaway. Let's take care of refreshing. Refreshing. Okay, look at, I know the show's coming to an end soon because I'm down to that and feeling it. Okay, let's take care of some of the fine sponsors of the GarrForce, and that starts with Bettenhausen Automotive.
Get the best sales and service experience now at Bettenhausen on 159th Street in Tinley Park. Bettenhausen has a new look, but the same automotive DNA lives on. Get Bettenhausen's no hassle, no haggle buying experience. Whether you're looking for a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or reliable certified used, Bettenhausen has the vehicle for you with over 900 to choose from. Plus, our state-of-the-art service department is here to keep your vehicle at top performance. Showroom and service scheduling never closes at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
Speaking of Yellowstone, all the trucks in Yellowstone, Ram trucks. Yep.
So I took my car that I bought from Bettenhausen Automotive to the car wash today. I parked it in a parking lot at a grocery store. And when I came out, I had to smile. It looks as good as the day it came off the assembly
Yeah, and you
line.
bought a certified used car, and it looks new. When you sent me the picture, you said, I bought a car at Bettenhausen. I go, you said you were buying a used car. You said, that's a used car.
That's a
Looks
used car.
new.
Oh, sweet. And the experience was awesome.
All right. And Team Hochberg, here's the guy. We had David on, what was it, last week? When was he on? He was on last week and talked about how things are going with the market. And that's what they do. That's what David and his team do. They'll tell you with a free consultation what you should do if you're looking for a mortgage, a refi, veterans loan, reverse mortgage. He knows all of that stuff. Free consultation can be had if you call that number or go to the website, 56david.com. And we welcome back Tree Time. Yeah, if you're looking, treetime.com. If you're looking for an artificial tree, and I love the pre-lit. I'm pre-lit right now, to be honest with you. I want my tree and me to be the same, pre-lit. They've got the best artificial trees in the whole damn country, and they have decorations, all that you need for Christmas at Tree Time. Joe and Lori, they own the business. They're great people, and they have been sponsors over the years. And you have to order from them if you're looking for artificial. If you're not in the Chicago area, they're in Lake Barrington, Illinois, but they have the website anywhere in the country. They can ship. So look at their trees and order up, because you will not be disappointed. They look real. I have 2 of their trees. They're beautiful.
And you got to embrace those family-owned businesses.
Yes.
Everything
Christmas,
treetime.com.
Yes. Hey.
Oh. Want a story or 2?
Yes, I do. Ro wants to know if I have another one after the show. I got to tell you, Ro, the way this one is made, this lasts me for several hours, believe me. If I have another one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I do. I've talked about the procedure after the show. I go in the backyard, I take my shoes off, sitting on a rock and cry. And then I come in and put a California Kitchen frozen pizza in, barbecue chicken. And then I have that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's my Friday. I love it. All right.
And why do you do this, Garry?
Leslie, I don't want to do this. Why do I do it?
Because you need to.
I need to do it. And if I don't do it,
you tip over.
Tip over. I don't want to tip over.
Don't. So have you been following the news about these monkeys?
Yeah, here's the funny thing. A bunch of people, because they know my wheelhouse and your wheelhouse, they're going, oh, have you heard the story about the monkeys? And I said, Leslie already teased it on the T show this morning. We're talking about it.
We have to talk about the monkeys. So the roundup continues for the 43 monkeys that escaped from a testing facility in South Carolina. The majority of the rhesus macaques, described as very young females weighing between 6 and 7 pounds, have been located near the Alpha Genesis Primate Research Facility in Yamasee, from which they escaped. Now comes the difficult task of actually recapturing them. The plan is to entice them back with food and treats. They've set up some traps. After that, they say more direct efforts may be required. In the meantime, members of the public are being asked to keep their distance so as not to scare these skittish primates. Obviously, we will be closely following this developing story.
We'll follow up. We'll follow up. I saw a news organization describing the monkeys in case you were looking for them and you don't want to get the wrong monkey. This is the same thing as that Malaysia airline where the guy found a wing of an airplane floating on the beach.
Wrong one.
And they brought it to authorities. That's not it. Because you might pick up the wrong monkey.
Top of the hour.
It's not the top of the hour.
Just the wrong monkey.
Wrong monkey. That's the wrong monkey alert.
So imagine bringing in, hey, I found this rhesus macaque, but it's a 12-pounder, and they go, no, throw it back.
No, throw it back. Not the right one.
They say that it was a new hire who didn't properly seal the cage. So somebody's losing a job over this. But take heart in the fact that because these primates are so young, they haven't been tested on yet. So it's not like they have been given smallpox or anything like that. So this is not the beginning of a movie. And so many movies have been made using this premise where, what was that, Contagion or something?
12 Monkeys. Wasn't that 12 Monkeys? Wasn't that the
12
movie?
Monkey? Wasn't that the pandemic or whatever?
Yeah.
So turns out, no, these are just cash monkeys. So don't worry.
Wayne Altman says that the monkeys were heading to a Diddy party.
A man in India is dead. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to shake it off and
Shake it off. Reset.
A man in India is dead after accepting a dare to set on a box of lit fireworks. A group of so-called friends put this victim up to the challenge with the promise of buying him a new rickshaw if he went through with it. Well, he went through with it, and then some of the fireworks went through him. There is a viral video of the deadly stunt racking up thousands of views. Yours truly was not one of them, so I don't know specifically, but they say he gets up, he falls down, he's dead. An investigation is now underway with the friends facing the equivalent of manslaughter charges for the part in this debacle.
Hey, that reminds me, Leslie, when I was talking to Terry, we were talking about the returns coming in on the election. And I thought that was going to be the biggest night of viewing for television ever. I heard today that actually the ratings for those traditional news services were down. Everybody was on the internet.
Yeah.
So this is a complete shift. These days are sliding into something completely different.
Yeah, the legacy media really losing their grip at this point. Well, I mean, let's face it, Joe Rogan was a huge motivator in a lot of people's votes.
Well, the podcast is eclipsing all of the traditional platforms that used to be. And the radio business, they didn't see this coming and they didn't adjust. What are you going to do? Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
And finally, a funeral home in Poland is apologizing after losing a body in traffic during transport. A hearse from the Hades Funeral Services was en route to a funeral home when the back door of their vehicle accidentally opened, causing the human to slip out onto the ground. Luckily, the person in the car behind was able to stop in time to avoid running over the deceased. Hades, and that is Hades Funeral Services, has issued an apology and an explanation, blaming the incident on a technical failure of the electrical tailgate latch. They say they are sorry to, quote, all those who were disappointed and upset by this event.
Okay, this is in that same category as the armored truck that carries money, where the door flies open and the money flies out. How many times, and this is not code, how many times has your trunk lid just popped open?
Never.
Never.
Well, especially because I got my car from Bettenhausen Automotive.
Yes.
But
so you got the armored truck,
way.
And now this, where the hearse or whatever you call it pops open and the body flies out the back.
Yeah.
That's all you do is transport money and bodies, and you don't have the best door lock?
Go figure. They knew that this body, well, the guy behind first had a sheet hit his windshield, so he couldn't see exactly what was going on. The sheet blew off, and then he noticed this person in front of his car, so he stopped, but they realized that it wasn't just some like indigent individual who had wandered into traffic because it was dressed too well.
And the fact is, if that person hit the body, they would not have killed the body. The body was already dead.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not only merely
there's the tone. Traffic, news, weather, and sports back in 15.
It's mostly sincerely dead. Anyway, well, shall we give away some prizes?
Hey, you were singing a little Wizard of Oz there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not only nearly dead, she's really most sincerely
I did what
dead.
I usually do. The Wizard of Oz was on cable yesterday, and I Wikipedia'd. Get this, Auntie M, the woman who played Auntie M, she suffered a lot of health problems. So one day she took an overdose of sleeping pills and put a plastic bag over her head and killed herself.
Oh my God. Why? See, you do these deep dives.
I have to. I don't want to. I need to.
And in the
Auntie M.
meantime, it turns out that somebody on set did not hang themselves among the nasty apple trees, and there were all sorts of
And
things.
Auntie M and the guy who played the uncle, those characters, they did not
What were they, like 30?
No. The point is, they did. Those were the only two in that original scene that did not have an alternate character in Oz.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they were the only two. They did not have an alternate character.
Oh. Plus, I mean, what a farm, man. They had 3 hired hands there. That they were operating.
Nice. Yes. Nice. All right,
But
Leslie.
did you do that thing where you check their age? And it turns out that,
they
think
aren't as old as you think they are.
the Wicked Witch of the West was probably all of 40 years old when she was.
Well, my weird obsession is when I see this, all the people on the show are dead.
Well,
I do that thing.
That's
If
with my
it's
head every time.
a Tonight Show or whatever, they're all the host, the sidekick, the guests are all dead. And someday all of us will be too. So let's enjoy the moment.
Well, and that's why you can still watch Andy Griffith, because thank God Opie's still among us.
Opie's still hanging in there.
Woohoo!
Wow,
He's
that's
looking
a
rugged.
fucking-
Did you see Only Murders in the Building? Do you watch
No.
that show?
Is he on that?
Yeah, it turns out the years are catching up with Opie too.
Oh,
So.
God damn it. I hate seeing
I
that.
know.
All right. Alan, let's hit the button and give away some stuff. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get that wonderful prize package? Oh, Samantha. All right, Alan, tell Samantha what to do.
Samantha, send your mailing address to Garry Meier Show at GarryMeier.com or text it to 773-888-2157. Regular charges apply. And Leslie will go down to that local post office that's probably getting more and more busy with the Christmas stuff. And she'll get it to you when they get it to you. How's that sound?
Do you know how much a stamp, a first-class stamp is
Okay,
these days?
okay, that's funny you said that because I took something to the post office, and here's how it went. A listener said, "Hey, I've got a JPEG with a bunch of your old shows, radio shows on it. Would you like it?" Sure, because I probably don't have them.
Sure.
He sent them to me, and I sent back a handwritten note. And I went to the post office, and I had some stamps, but I don't know how much a stamp is. I was surprised to hear they are
73 cents.
Yes.
Holy shnikes. I just buy a sheet of 20 and then you just don't even calculate.
I know, or those forever stamps.
Well,
yeah,
should have bought 1,000 forever stamps back when they first came out.
And just to correct your technical understanding, Gary, it couldn't have been a JPEG. A JPEG is an image, not a video.
I'm sorry. What did he send me? He
probably
sent me
probably a thumb drive.
Thumb drive. That's what he sent. Okay, I'm learning. I'm new to this. Oh.
Well, welcome to 1990. Welcome to 1993.
Yes, I am fast turning 1993. I'm going to hit 2000 any day now. Leslie
He's
also
going to get rid of all of his floppy disks.
any day now.
Yep.
Leslie also sends a handwritten note, which is a lost art these days too.
Going to have to pick up some more note cards, I think, this week. Oh, and by the way, apologies to our winner from 2 weeks ago. Yes, there was a delay. I was out of town, but your stuff's in the mail. You should be getting it pretty quick here.
All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Here comes the cannoli down the aisle. It's delicious. Please take it. It's complimentary. What about the schnauzer this weekend?
You know, I would take my schnauzer to Dirty Nellie's tonight in Palatine, it turns out. And
Is it
go
Palatine,
see,
Illinois?
Yes.
Yeah, take your schnauzer to Dirty Nellie's. All right.
They appreciate schnauzers there, I hear.
I'm sure they do. 3 in the green, gear is down. Hey, Monday, let me just tell you this. That's Veterans Day. We'll play my father's tape on Monday. So if you have heard that before, that's when it's going to happen. If you haven't, it's pretty powerful. And to all our veterans, we can't do enough. We try, but we can't. 3 in the green, gear is down, flaps are down. The voice of the globe, America's podcast, the GarrForce, has landed.
And that's all the news and nonsense for this week, GarrForce. Thank you for streaming.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce.
Please be sure to like and share the show on all of your social networks.
More eyeballs.
If you're not already a subscriber, show your support by subscribing to GarrForceLIVE YouTube channel. For those watching a replay, that button is right here. All the rest of our episodes, right here.
Boom.
Hello?
Shakalaka.
Did you click something?